The Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Cruiser Max Vibrance Beans, High Stick NT, and the Manitoba Pulse and Soybean Grower.
Berto Tobin here for RealAgriculture.com, joined again by Wayne Wheeler from Huron Commodities. Sir, thank you for taking the time. We are in an IP soybean field here, and I want to talk a little bit about management, especially Nightshade. I mean, one of the great nightmares for IP growers.
Yeah, correct. Here in this field, we did have some Nightshade escapes. The worst thing with Nightshade, it tends to be a late germinator. Mm-hmm. It has a same family as tomatoes, so it has that kind of oily, waxy, hard seed coat. A lot of chemicals or chemistry will give you good weed control for the first 2 to 3 weeks. You'll scout your field the first part of June, you think you're all okay, you come back 2 weeks later and you have a flush of Nightshade. And again, that's the biggest thing to watch out for, is that late flush of Nightshade, because a lot of times it does not come till kind of the end of June. It tends to show up more on sandier ground, high organic matter soils, like some more muck soils. And again, what happens is the plant produces berries, and at combining, the berries will rupture, stain the beans, and then basically that's undesirable as a product coming in to go for export into the food market. So
does it come down to just being diligent with your scouting here, Wayne?
Yeah,
you got to be out early. You got to be out.
Yeah, out often, and a lot of times it just doesn't show up overnight. That it's been there for a lot of years. So if you've identified that you have a field that does have Nightshade in, you probably can go back to the same spots every year and just keep an eye on it, because eventually it probably will show up. This year being a little bit drier, we're not maybe seeing it as much as on wetter years. So sometimes rainfall has a play into it too. It must break down the seed coat a little bit more and maybe dilute the chemistry a little bit quicker too. And sometimes Nightshade will show up sooner on wetter years and on dry years. Right. But
now we're here late June. We're doing a little scouting here. We found a few Nightshades.
Yep.
What type of opportunity do we still have at this time of year to get out and take care of this problem?
Some of these are getting to be a fair size. Again, if it's isolated areas, you could go and hand pull them or something like that. If they're smaller, there's a couple chemicals on the market that would take care of them, but once they get to be a certain size, it's just get harder to take down. So that's why it's important to get in early and get them looked after. The other thing what comes into play is there are some flowers starting to show up on the beans, and once beans start to flower, certain chemistries that you apply will cause those first flowers to abort. So almost kind of rule of thumb is once beans are starting to flower, maybe stop applying some of the chemistry. But again, if you had a complete disaster, that might be the only option that you have to rescue your field, sort of thing. So
now, we mentioned dry year this year.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about more about the implications of dry conditions in Nightshade, and what happens when and if we get a nice rain.
There could be a flush that comes later on, and have seen that before, where harvest time, the field was fairly clean earlier on, and come harvest time, you have a plant in September or October that half the plant has set berries and half the plant is still flowering. So it's something that came extremely late. But again, if you've identified those fields in the past, potentially those fields are not maybe good candidates for IPs, that you might want to look at doing something else with it. So
rotate out of them, eh?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Hey, good stuff, sir. Thank you for your time today. Let's pray for rain.
Yeah, hopefully.